Nautilus to answer.
Yeah, so the Nautilus off of the table, I don't think Meiko will mind too much, though. Let's be honest, there's plenty of other supports that do a similar thing, like the Leona available. You could even go for the Thresh, which Meiko has been somewhat of a specialist in over the years, but that Leona, it's just too tempting, isn't it? Instantly locked in, and then LGD now have to decide if they want to go for a similar strategy. Looks like changing things up, still aggressive, right? This time there's Zhao there. Last time it was the Diana and the Renekton at this point in the draft. And I think LGD might change things up, go for a support here.
Yeah, they could look for support if they want to secure a decent matchup. Could also look for a mid lane if there's something you want to have priority on here and now. We'll see. I do think the one difference, you know, with the Leona compared to the Nautilus is the effectiveness of Cleanse. Eric taking Cleanse is going to really... Oh, okay. They get everything I'm talking about. We get the Renata lock-in. And honestly, you know, EDG have already got HEcarim. They've already got Leona. This is pretty heavy dive. I think that Renata is one of the strongest anti-dive champions in the late game. So easy just to throw that ult down. And when the enemy team are like diving towards you, you just make them all attack each other. The W as well, great at allowing your AD carry to survive and get those resets. But we'll see how that pans out. We do get the Ahri coming in for Scout. And now he is in a position where he can ban away potential difficult matchups in mid. Silas, a good matchup into the Ahri. LGD, on the other hand, going to ban away that Tristana again. Something we've seen as a counter to the Zeri. And one thing to note is, my opinion of Renata is that the problem with her laning phase is that she has very long cooldowns, right? Her E is like a 16-second cooldown, level 1. It's either 14 or 16. Her Q a long cooldown as well. So EDG, we saw them stomp lane at level 1 last game. I fully expect to look to see them do a similar thing in this game too, where they will just be very aggressive in the laning phase.
That is, if it is support, it's possible that we get this Renata somewhere else. Remember, this is the first Renata we will see in competitive globally, at least in the major regions. So we'll have to see what to expect coming out from this one. 280 carry bans coming on through the Tristana and the Kai'Sa, trying to remove some of that aggression from Viper that we saw in game number 1 from him and Meiko. Now over to EDG. Let's see where they go with this draft next, whether they're ready or not for that Renata. You can see the giggles on the faces as the Draven being hovered, but I don't think that'll be locked in.
It would be pretty sick, I'm not going to lie. But they are going to go for the Aphelios, so something that can burst you out pretty heavily in close range, right? Obviously, the Zeri is something that operates at that distance, but I really want to see EDG playing super aggressive through this bot lane 2v2. For LGD, but explore what options they have on the rest of the map, toying with the idea of the Akali. Obviously, ability to match the Ahri, and they are going to lock that in. Can still flex to top, though, critically in this situation. Honestly, Veigar here, really excellent pick, right? We're talking about how there's so much dive threat from the side of EDG. Cassiopeia, another great anti-dive champion. So it seems like LGD pretty clear on what sort of tools they want available in their hands.
Yeah, undecided, but it does seem like Renata will be going into that support role like you predicted here. So JinJiao, first player down to the competitive stage here in a professional league. It's going to be the LeBlanc coming through for that mid lane. So Jay going aggressive, and we have a bit of a vintage matchup in that mid lane, right? Ahri versus LeBlanc. It's giving me like season 3 vibes.
Been a long time since we've seen a sort of matchup like this, and obviously connecting the charm with LeBlanc, very threatening, right? If you're able to do so, can catch her out, even interrupt the distortion dash. But on the other side, if you land a chain on the Ahri, then her ability doesn't really matter, and great setup in the laning phase. So very much for me, this suggests that LGD have sought out a strong mid jungle, right? In this situation, they want to have that pressure so they can expand on the map. Fearness in the top side against the Renekton should be pretty fine. Obviously, early the Renekton gonna have pressure there, but the Akali, hard to punish, is basically you shroud whenever Renekton presses W and he can't really follow up. But yeah, really excited to see this Renata come out. I think EDG, you need to stomp it on the bot side of the map, because especially Renata Zeri, that is a very powerful scaling bot lane.
I will say it's a dangerous thing though to stomp against the Renata. You don't want to be too far ahead, because then when the hostile takeover comes out, you literally one-shot your teammates as well. It's kind of the Viego effect, right? If you're too far ahead, they take over. Oh, that's dangerous. It's a dangerous game to be playing, that's for sure. I'm very excited to see what JinJiao has up his sleeves with this Renata support pick. Like you said, very long cooldowns in the early stages of the game. But certainly still a ranged support definitely can put a lot of harass down during that laning phase. So perhaps will be enough to bridge Eric towards that late game. But looking at these compositions, I'm excited because remember, the bailout coming out from Renata. It's if you've got teammates that are diving in, you can save their lives. You can stop them going down from lethal damage, right? Zhao, Akali, LeBlanc, Zeri, they all want to get in close range and get in the eyes of danger. So it feels like Renata could really thrive with this draft.
Absolutely. I think, you know, if a pick comes through from EDG, that's where the W can be a lot less valuable. But if you're able to kite backwards, survive for a bit longer, get the reset, especially on a Zeri, someone who ramps up so much in the extended fights, so much value there. Talked a little bit more about her, talked a little bit before about her longer cooldowns. Her Q, which is a handshake, which is that root she fires out, is a 16-second cooldown. Her E, which is the missiles that shield her and deal damage, is a 14-second cooldown at rank 1. So that's a downside, right? In the laner phase, you can see JinJiao's even take the support, the exhaust, sorry. So a little bit more for defensive tool in the lane, because that is the vulnerability, is that if you use either of your trading tools, it means Meiko can potentially fish for something. So a bit precarious, but if they get out of the laning phase, this champion is absolutely exceptional in the later stages, and really starts to ramp up, particularly, you know, when just loads of members are diving towards you and you pop that ultimate. It is team fight winning.
I will say, when you look at Renata, the weird little robot thing that follows her around, I'm curious, do you know if that has a name? Because it kind of reminds me of the bots that you get in Fallout. You know, they're like military bots with the little drill on one hand, they kind of float around. I don't know, maybe not a Fallout player?
No, I'm not. I'm not familiar, so.
People in chat definitely know the bots I'm talking about. Does remind me of that. They all have names. They're all kind of sentient, so I feel like there's some kind of tie in there, but perhaps not. Perhaps I'm just going too far on that one. But down. See how he's going to be able to perform. I'm also looking towards this mid lane once again, because Jay did a decent job during the laning phase earlier against Scout. But
doing a good job here as well.
The rest of the fights, that was when Scout really took off.
Yeah, and I think in this situation, the LeBlanc has a lot of potential, right? A lot of the tools coming out from EDG to lock down the LeBlanc, you can absolutely look to play around, right? You can just distortion back to dodge away from things like the charm. The HEcarim should never really get onto you unless you're misplaying. So I really think LGD should be, you know, if they can get through the laning phase, if they can get pressure out this mid jungle, I think they're in a pretty good spot now. Bot lane, obviously, early levels, double range against ranged melee, you're going to find favor, you're going to be able to push in. But once that level 2, level 3 gets hit by EDG's bot lane, that's where you have to be a little bit more concerned.
Yeah, a bit of a tough trade there from Jiejie. He takes a tower shot while trying to harass Scout, and that is going to kind of mitigate the health lead that he'd been able to build. And now, with a little foxfire coming out from Scout, Jay's suddenly not having a fun time of it. Both mid laners running that ignite. Remember, this is assassin versus assassin. This is an incredibly volatile matchup. No! Oh, it's a disaster. Last possible second. That was blind as well, by the way. He knew what was happening. He tried to go for the play, but it was too little too late.
Yeah, I mean, I like the play. I like the fact that Scout goes for it, but a little bit ambitious. And now flash down, it means you're pretty vulnerable to ganks, right? Jay can just distortion forwards, land a chain, very easy setup. You can see Shadow already heading over, but Jiejie is waiting in the wings.
Yeah, he is. Ignite's going to come down, but that's going to be a chain onto Scout and a flash forwards from Shadow. The 2v2 for LGD is Jiejie sent packing.
And that's step 1 for the game plan for LGD. Winning out the 2v2 mid jungle, getting that advantage allows you to spread the pressure, particularly towards that bot lane. The worst case scenario is if the EDG were able to roam down bot, stack up 4 members, look for dive opportunities. That's where things could get scary. So already a really good omen for the side of LGD. And solid play from Jay as well. Applying that pressure in lane, recalling before Scout flashed, right? Definitely heads up there.
Yeah, really great recall. Predicting the Scout's going to flash in exactly 9 seconds. And so he knew he had the timing to get that one off. Really smart play coming out. Let's take another look as, we actually gonna...
Oh, man.
Oh,
look.
come on, don't do it
This
to
is
him.
so dirty. So obviously,
I mean,
the thing is, I think he has the vision, so he knows he hasn't left that brush. He knows he's still in there. Assumes he's recalled. And actually, we don't get a chance to look at that. Dive comes in top.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how that happened. I don't know what occurred, but I just know Fearness is not having a fun time. Xiaosheng, for the second time in this series, will get the best of this top lane matchup. And, I mean, this is the negative of the Akali, right? In the early game, you're going to have a hard time.
Yeah, and I think typically it's a little bit of a tricky dive on the Akali, especially with 2 auto attackers, because you can use the Shroud. I'm not sure if they're able to wait it out or if it was on cooldown, but either way, getting that early dive off, definitely solid for EDG. Gold's roughly even overall. Honestly, I'm just going to say, right, Renata has had a free laning phase so far. Eric with the cull as well. This is positive, right? My concern was potentially some issues in the laning phase if EDG were able to apply pressure down there. JinJiao has got the flash on cooldown, so I think we can assume there was some shenanigans going down, but ultimately still going unscathed at this point.
Yeah, we'll see if LGD can keep getting away with just scaling up on that bottom side. But in the top side, they're not even that worried about scaling. This 2v2 from Jay and Shadow looking magnificent off the back of that early play. And remember how we set up LGD today, right? This is a team that wants to be skirmishing. Well, those little skirmishes, they're going to benefit them massively. But also, these champions are perfect for that style, right? LeBlanc's in Zhao. What an exceptionally strong 2v2 to draft for yourselves.
Yeah, it really is. And especially you land a CC, and Zhao gets a free W to connect, can dash in, basically such a long distance away. So we do have Jiejie, though, closing up on that level 6, and Scout also with that level 6. Oh, great charm!
Oh, Jay just gets outplayed by Scout, gets dived with the Spirit Rush. But I don't think the damage is quite there. Shadow trying to get onto Xiaosheng up in the top side, but Xiaosheng with the Dominus, and with a Horsey coming on over as well. He's not so afraid. We'll have to back away in the end. But Jay sticking around here. This is dangerous. Scout also very low HP. Jay will commit to this one. Meiko has Ignite. Might just flash for the Ignite here. Won't commit to that one, but I honestly would have loved to see Meiko just flash Ignite that one.
Be a pretty Chad move. Don't think he was quite in range, and obviously with Distortion being available to the LeBlanc, can't do it, but heavy all in coming out mid. Scout finding a great charm, but just not quite able to close out the kill. But you can see that's the potential, right? Is if you land that charm on the LeBlanc, not only do you stop the Distortion mid-track so the damage isn't there, but easy potential just to follow up and potentially fish for kills. So despite the fact that we said Jay, should have a decent time in this game, able to play around the CC tools, if you do make a mistake, if you do misstep, you will get locked down and likely bursted out.
Yeah, I have to say, so far this game, I'm a little disappointed that we've seen literally no Renata gameplay so far. I think I've seen her cast one ability on screen.
Just wait, dude. Level 6,
minutes in.
You get the ultimate. It's a new mechanic in League of Legends, and we know new mechanics are always fun, never annoying, never frustrating. Gwen's immune. Everyone loves that ability. So
that's true. That's true.
We'll get to see the position comes out.
Revive, huge with the fans.
Yeah. The Chem Soul. Remember when that came in? People just
yeah, people loved
big fans. But yeah, I think the thing as well, there's some interesting interactions with the Renata ultimate. So first and foremost, if Leona has her Q activated and you ult her, she will just stun her ally, right? Same with HEcarim, if he has his charge activated, will charge into his ally. But my favorite one, seen an all in here.
Hang on, all in on the top side. Shadow's moving up as well as Fearness. Nice little shuriken there. Xiaosheng is going to go down. Shadow grabs himself the kill. I feel like you should have gifted that one over to Fearness. He did all of the work after all. But regardless, another great pick for LGD. Even gold ahead in kills right now. But we are going to see some Renata gameplay. I'm not sure JinJiao is going to be enjoying having to play the Renata gameplay, though, because he's level 5 underneath the tower. Scout's already in. Doesn't go for the charm just yet. As Eric uses that ulti, starts building some stacks for himself. Under the tower we go, though. The bailout working beautifully, but the damage just isn't there.
Man, level 6 gets hit by the Renata, and I was like, that could be it. That could be enough. And Eric just isn't able to get a turnaround kill. And that's the difference, right? If you get that kill, you revive, you can look to chain it together. But EDG is close, but they managed to pull off the dive successfully. And this is what I wanted to see from them, right? Renata in the bot lane, punishing her, looking to have those 4-man leans bot. It's a little bit later than I'd like, and with the ultimate available, did make it a bit trickier, but still a positive play for them. Now 1,000 gold in the lead. And, Joe, maybe I have time to talk about the interaction, the fun one. I don't know. We'll get the replay first, and then we'll see. But yeah, I mean, critically, the Renata hitting level 6 during this dive made such a big difference.
You see the ulti coming on out. They start hitting each other instead of Eric. But again, the damage so close to being there. But Scout getting that heal out at the last possible second keeps him alive. And it means that Eric goes down. The bailout doesn't work out. Remember, for bailout, you have to get a kill or the health bar just slowly evaporates. Meiko getting tagged up underneath this Drake. But okay, I think we've got a reprieve here. Orcs, talk to me about some Renata interactions.
Okay, so you know the white gun for Aphelios when he can place down the turret? If you ult, the turret will kill him. It'll actually just kill him. And also, if you have the white gun and the green gun, then you know how obviously like the green gun shoots you, and then if you auto and do a lot, he will do that to himself. He will actually just shoot himself. It's so funny.
Has to use his toe to pull the trigger on the caliber. Full on World War II style. Yeah, that's an interesting one. So Viper needs to be a little bit cautious with his trigger finger across the course of these fights. Scout moving into the river here. Drake on the map, and this will be the second game in a row where Drake not taken for the first 10 minutes, I believe. Game number 1, it was an 11-minute Drake to start us off, and we're looking at a similar sort of time as EDG do seem to be grouped on the bottom side, but seemingly not willing to commit to anything. And I can see the logic, right? They do have an Aphelios, so scaling will certainly be an option. But with Ahri and Renekton, I'm not sure how much scaling is going to help them.
Yeah, I feel like especially into the Zeri as well. Zeri and Renata just seems like such an insane lane later on. Like the scaling available to both of them pretty significant. So, you know, I think regardless, though, we've seen EDG not put too much of a priority on the Dragons so far in that game 1 either. Oh, Charm comes in.
Flash from Scout. There's an Ignite as well. That's just going to be a solo kill. Jiejie! Come on, man. That was Scout's solo kill in the mid lane. But Jiejie takes it, puts him under hoof. For now, Meiko getting aggressed upon by Shadow. But that's a red and white Aphelios. I'm not sure this is a fight Shadow wants to keep going for, but I'm totally wrong. He's going to keep chasing. W goes wide.
Yeah, not quite able to follow it up there. Does end up burning the ult from Meiko, but trades it with his own. But just what a great play coming out from Scout in the mid lane. The confidence to look for that one, the charm. Jiejie just end up stealing it in the end, but still showing that really there's so much skill available in this matchup between the Ahri and the LeBlanc. So much opportunity for outplay, and it is found. Now, LGD will put some pressure down onto this tower. Should be able to get 2 plates here, but you can see on the other side, EDG was similarly doing a lot of work, and critically, this is a whole breaker Renekton. Bit of a pain for the Akali, right? Clearing out that cannon, not exactly the most fun for an Akali in general, especially with the increased resistances.
Tough one, but look at this. Scout just flashes. I think he hit Charm, but 4 flashes as well to be able to guarantee that one.
Yeah.
And then Jiejie just ruins everything and steals the kill away from him. So 2 Scout pro views so far this game. One of them very positive, one of them not so much.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing in this matchup is that as the LeBlanc, if he is going for the charm flash into you, you have to flash, right? Because the distortion there, it's obviously slower than just flashing. And then if you get hit by the charm, it cancels it. So ends up going down. Obviously, we praised this mid jungle from LGD in the early game. So far, it feels like EDG have gained a lot of momentum in return.
Certainly have. It's, the trades up on the top side, though, we're starting to even out a little bit here. Xiaosheng not able to completely bully Fearness quite in the same way that he was earlier on into the game. And that gets slightly better for Fearness when he hits the level 11 and gets the next rank on his ultimate as well. But still, I would say Renekton favored across the course of things. I'm looking towards the mid jungle, though, because we talked about this Zhao and this LeBlanc. Hang on. Scout wants to go for a dive. It's not going to happen in the meantime. Shenanigans on the bottom side. JinJiao helping Shadow invade onto Jiejie. That natural weakness of the HEcarim being exploited here by LGD. A help from JinJiao to make that happen. And I will say, JinJiao's bailout, incredibly potent on this Xin Zhao. So JinJiao helping Xin Zhao will certainly...
Say that 3 times fast.
I know. Oh god, it's not getting any easier, is it?
Definitely not, but... We see EDG, obviously, some alone time for the Renekton in the top lane with the whole breaker, easy able to pick up the tower. And so LGD, despite looking for that bot side lean, not really able to find it. And now Herald, second Herald up and available. Jay?
Oh, again. Charm lands. Can Scout miss? Is it even possible? I think not at this stage, as he still has 3 stacks of his ulti. He wants to go for Fearness. They don't actually know where Fearness is. Now they do. And yet another Charm will land. Bailout is there, so Fearness will be safe for the time being. Goes for the shuriken flip to safety, Good little Calibrum there. Good attempt from Viper. Almost hit Fearness. But look at the scoreboard right now, right? Scout and Jiejie massively ahead, despite that 2v2 that we talked about for Jay and Shadow. Not really seeing them in a 2v2.
Yeah, and once Scout has started finding all these consistent charms, really delivering the HEcarim post. Oh, Engage comes in.
Shadow is not afraid, apparently. Does have the bailout available and uses his own ulti. Has to flash out to safety. I'm a little surprised that they committed to a 2v3 in that situation, but, you know, each to their own, I guess.
Yeah, quite bold. And you see EDG pretty heavily leaning towards this Herald in the situation. We have seen them prioritizing it quite a lot in this series. But the problem is, right, any more alone time on the bot side, Torres just getting decimated by this Renekton.
Yeah, is this going to be an all-in? It is. Fearness going for the perfect execution, trying to finish off Xiaosheng here. A little bit of damage, and the execute comes through. But a good flash from Xiaosheng. Last possible second, and he will survive because of it. But a great little exploit of an overextension there from Fearness. Xiaosheng wanted the tower, and Fearness says no.
But honestly, that might have been enough, right? EDG setting up for the Herald, despite the fact that the Renekton has that teleport, has to... Oh, Viper!
Oh, Viper is dead. See you later, Jay. Going so aggressive, and I love to see it. Flash away from JinJiao. Scout gets yet another charm. He just can't miss it now. Spirit Rush back out of the fight. It's going to be a hostile takeover across the team, but EDG walking away or galloping away as Jiejie, his Shadow, keeps the fight going. Trying to get underneath the tower here. Scout over the wall. Charm will find onto Shadow, and the Ignite will finish him off. No, the shield comes out. Is it enough? I think it is. Shadow survives.
So they won't be able to translate into the Herald. Shadow so low, but they get a favorable play. They kill Viper. They manage to navigate that one. Even get that mid tower as well, maybe? Looks pretty close, but I think Eric should just be able to grab this and hop over the wall. So positive play for LGD there. EDG try and commit to the fight, but just aren't able to find the execution. And bear in mind, they're engaging here despite the fact they were already someone down, right? Viper overextended here. Doesn't have the support from the team. All of LGD commit to try and take him out. And now EDG committing to the fight despite being down that member. And Fearness, he saves his TP, right? He knows his team are fine without him. Ends up taking that bot lane tier 1 and still has a TP available to join fights later on.
And I feel like this is karma, right? We have spent the entire year watching Corki versus Victor, and it was so boring. And as such, we now get to see LeBlanc versus Ahri. Let this be the meta, I beg. Let this be the meta. It's going to be a Drake for a Herald trade across the map here, as LGD will get their second Drake of the game. EDG will grab themselves the Herald. And we'll see the gold lead, about 1,000 for EDG so far, but still very much possible that it goes the way of LGD as Jay gets a bit of revenge from Viper. It's a close one. The Calibrum is still there. Not gonna... Okay, there's the auto. Chakrum's not quite enough to finish that job off, but it was damn close, actually. As Viper getting a lot of damage down here. Everfrost actually goes in, but goes wide, as does the Charm. And Herald not dropped. I was expecting a Herald there to try and finish things off, but EDG will decide to back away.
Yeah, I think Herald might get better usage out of throwing it mid, right? Looking for that tier 1. Because... you know, as much as there's a lot of engage tools on the side of EDG, a little bit risky to be stepping up. We saw what happened before the Viper when he just existed, and Jay wasn't really keen on that. So I think cracking that tier 1 tower would make a fair bit of difference, especially as having more control over the map really favorable when you have picks like the Ahri, like the HEcarim, really good at finding those opportunities to pick off targets.
Yeah, Jay is like the Steve Irwin of LGD, right? He sees a snake and he deals with it. Immediately putting down the dangerous animal. Fearness gonna try to defend the tower in this bottom side. I'm not sure he can against Hullbreaker here, but maybe he can. Xiaosheng really wants to step up, but perhaps won't get the chance to. Herald in the mid lane in the meantime. That will be the tier 1 going down. There we go. Hullbreaker working out in that bottom lane as well as Xiaosheng moves forward. So EDG now starting to tick some boxes here and just pick up the standing gold around the map. 2,000 is their gold lead. Is LGD trying to fight for vision control of their own jungle, but it's not a fight that they seem to be winning right now. EDG posturing aggressively here. They're in a 2 and a 3, though. LGD could find an advantage, but it looks like they won't pull the trigger.
Yeah, and I think EDG, right, you know, they're not really going to be able to apply pressure to that tier 2 bot. The wave's been cleared out. There's only one camp left of the jungle. There's not really too much they're getting out of fighting here, so they will just back away. And you have to be a bit cautious about fighting in these chokes when you're up against Zeri. Oh, looking for an engage.
No caution here. They're just going to go for a fight here. Hostile takeover already used. JJ low on HP, but now Xiaosheng can tank on that front line, and he is damn tanky. Solar Flag goes slightly wide. Scout into the frame, but there's an Infernum as well. As Viper finds one for himself. TP coming on through. Time for the cleanup from Fearness. Perfect execution at the ready, but not even needed just yet. Now chases down on Xiaosheng, but the Shuriken won't land. Eric doesn't care, though, as he just dives under the tower himself. And guess what? Baron just came onto the map. Maybe a chance for LGD, but Scout is playing distraction. He's in the wrong side of the map. He's in enemy lines right now. Needs to find a charm. Needs to find some kind of magic here. Gets the heal on through, but Zap, no, flashes away from the laser. Now trying to escape. Eric chasing him through the jungle. 1 HP on Scout. 1 HP and a dream, but Fearness should be able to put a stop to that one. But with an Everfrost, Scout keeps this one going. Dodges yet another laser, and I think he might get away with it. No, he won't. The rocket belt comes through from Fearness.
But it critically bought a lot of time for his team to respawn and get back on the map. They are going to be down him for 30 seconds, but not really anything that can be taken. But kind of seeing the value of the Renata there. The ultimate doesn't actually connect on the backline, but critically, watch the positioning of Viper and Scout. So the ult comes down. Viper and Scout, look how far they back away. They can't follow up. And as a result, JinJiao survives. They manage to extend the fight. Yes, there still comes this later engage where Viper gets a huge amount of burst, but this whole time, Eric has been ramping up. And then we get a TP from the Akali coming in. Now is the time for the re-engage, the turnaround. EDG, no tools left available, and this is where a Zeri can completely just shine in these situations.
Beautifully done here. Finish things off. It's 7-6 on the scoreboard. Aux, we're watching LGD versus EDG right now. We are watching a matchup between the team in 14th place, team in 3rd, and yet it seems so even. Shadow having to use his ulti just to survive. Hostile takeover goes a little bit wide on this one. Shadow with the re-engage might just be in trouble. Needs a bailout from his Renata. It's not going to happen. EDG have to back away once again, and I can't believe how many times I've had to say this game, EDG have to back away. 40 seconds until an Infernal Drake. 2 Drakes already for LGD. It feels like they're the favorite to get a 3rd.
Critically though, big ults on cooldown for both Eric and JinJiao here, so definitely lose a bit of power from that, but realistically, I think they've got control of the area. EDG might have to just give this one over.
Can they contest? 20 seconds till it's up. I mean, Jiejie is on the wrong side of the map. I don't think EDG are even going to think about contesting this one. They know that they've given this one up before it even began, so nicely done here by LGD to wrestle control. And I love the confidence with which we are seeing LGD playing this game. They are not walking into this matchup saying, you know, oh, our schedule is doomed, our standings are doomed, right? They're walking into this game saying, hey, we're one of the oldest organizations in the LPL, and we are here to fight you, EDG. And fight they are as they get the 3rd Drake here. But Jay, oh, the prediction from Scout. It's so gorgeous to witness, but he's run out of charges on his ulti, and Jay will actually flash out to safety. It was a great prediction, and it will net them a tower, but ultimately Jay survives.
Yeah, does manage to get out of this situation. Flash burn, though. Now you can see LGD moving over just to force EDG away. Gotta be a bit careful, though. EDG can look for this.
It's going to be a chain coming through. JinJiao pushed back towards the rest of the team. Viper with red and white weapons right here. And already a kill goes on through. As Meiko stuns Viper in the back line. But it's not going to matter here. Fearness trying to get in, but he just can't really do much. They don't have the space. Without their support, they can't find.
I actually found that hilarious because I saw Viper just look at Meiko and I was like, man, that's scary. But then obviously Meiko stuns him. Nothing really happens. The amount of time I've seen the Renata ult, like if you have like an enchanter support, and the AD carry just kills them in like
just
2 seconds. Them, yeah. It's hilarious, but at least Leona can kind of weather the storm a bit, and obviously stuns Viper. They're able to disengage. Kind of shows that, you know, if JinJiao is overextended without the support of the team, doesn't matter if you have those disengage tools, not really able to find the window or the space to get out. Now, gold is still roughly even. LGD 3 dragons, though. I feel like they can kind of just play for that 4th one.
Yeah, they certainly can. We can take another look at what happened during this fight. As JinJiao kind of just gets caught at the start. I just want to take another look at that interaction between Viper and Meiko, because I think that was the funniest thing out of all of this. The hostile takeover came through. Yeah. Oh, we've got another fight. We don't have time for this one. Jiejie, no ultimate available right now. Shadow on the front line, but no, he is that JinJiao. So, away with his life at very least. And EDG get on out of this one. And I have to say, the new Renata interactions of friendly fire kind of remind me of those old WoW raids where someone would get mind controlled by the boss, and immediately, the second you get mind control, it would use all of your big cooldowns. You won't be able to compete for DPS for the rest of the fight. But now LGD starting to move in, trying to start a fight of their own. Take a Orb of Deception for their trouble. Now Fearness goes in onto everybody. Viper with the Moonlight Vigil. Meiko will go down though, and LGD have found yet another positive fight. Fearness into the backline here. He's gone mental as he goes under the tower because he's got a bailout. He doesn't need to fear. Jiejie will go down, chained up from the top side of the fight, but actually surviving for way too long here. EDG, only 2 members remaining, the solo laners in a 2v3, but they have to back away.
Ends up being a trade-up for LGD. Not going to be enough for them really to capitalize, but still showing EDG having difficulty approaching this one. They have to be so cautious around their engages. And honestly, I feel like a flank would have a lot of value if they're able to find one. But for the time being, oh, Scout!
Oh, but Jay misses the chain. Scout will be okay on this one. Will continue to just clear the wave. But that actually was his ult blown by Scout.
Yeah, we'll have it back up for the Dragon. Does mean he's without that cooldown for a while. And you can see here, EDG just trying to back away in this situation, and the Renata ult isn't actually that good as an engage tool because it's so slow moving, but it does a great job here of just cutting off EDG. EDG can't respond. They know if they walk in the Renata ult, they will just die, so it just guarantees Meiko's death. And then you can watch here, Fearness goes in so aggressive, but the reset comes in with Shadow finding the kill. Obviously doesn't survive the end of that, but some really excellent play coming up from from LGD here. And you know, you talked a bit before about how LGD have come in this matchup being like, you know, we don't care about the standings. They've just gone, we're going to pick the 2 newest champions and just win. And I love that strategy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good strategy these days, it has to be said. I just want to quickly shout out Jiejie during that fight. Actually interrupted Fearness' shuriken flip that was going to finish off Viper. Managed to get the devastating charge in. Mid jump there. Eric has been caught by Jiejie. Speak of the devil and he will show himself. Jiejie yet again steps up for EDG at his time of need. We talked about this jungle matchup, and in the late game, it's all about the pony. EDG backing away from this one. Xiaoshang is not, though. He's sticking around for the time being. 50 seconds on that Drake, and EDG are the ones in position right now.
Yeah, critically, JinJiao's not there to provide the peel for his AD carry, and now EDG can get control of the area. They do have Jiejie resetting, so it gives a little bit of a reprieve, and obviously we'll see Eric back up there for this dragon fight. This would be soul for LGD. They don't have to fight this. If things start to look a bit dodgy, things start to look wrong, they can just back away, but EDG cannot give this up. Infernal Soul would be so substantial the side of LGD. Given that extra burst to Jay and Fearness would just be a absolute disaster. So you can see resets coming in for EDG. Try to push him find position. Eric is coming back. Does have his ult coming up pretty soon.
Got to keep your eyes on Jay, right? Because if he finds Viper, if he finds Scout, if he gets that burst combo off, he can just win the game. It's going to be Infernal Soul on the line here as Jiejie gets into the pit. 50-50 for the Drake. Shadow has to back away. Xiaoshang using that Dominus. And I think EDG might actually 50-50 this one. They're just going to go for the smite fight, and Jiejie wins it out. Now the Trump goes wide in the middle of the fight, as in goes the Horsey. Moonlight Vigil into the team as well. The damage coming out from Viper on the back line. It's 2 kills already for the Venomous Snake, as Jay has to back away. Jiejie on the flank, though. Eric still going strong as well. Trying to get some shots out, trying to get some minigun action going, but he ain't playing Jinx just yet. Jay into the fray once more. Viper surviving. Sun's coming out across the team. Jay gets one shot by Viper, and in the meantime, Xiaoshang takes out the backline. JJ re-engages as Scout will finish one more, and EDG somehow come out on top.
Beautiful execution there from EDG. The big AoE tools coming out huge, and then towards the end of the fight, they start to really respect the potential of the Zeri. You saw Meiko dive straight in onto Eric, and critically, didn't have the cleanse available at that time. The CC nearly enough just to take him down, but in the back end, they do finish off the Zeri. Soul denied, and a gold lead established firmly for EDG. Gonna see the replay off that one. So, like, big ult coming in here. So, JJ secures the dragon, and then instantly off the back of it, just flies in and gets this massive AoE fear. You can see the ult from Renata, not really too impactful there as well, but this followed by the ult from Viper, able to get a ton of damage off the back end, just kill Fearness out, and starts to get a little bit scary here. Eric ramping up, getting the movement speed, but EDG know they have a numbers advantage, and Meiko just fully commits to deal with this Zeri.
Yeah, I was getting real scared about this Zeri from Eric, just started to ramp up, but Jay goes in. Watch the damage from Viper onto Jiejie. He jumps into the backline, tries to finish him, and it's like point blank executes him the coup de grace. And JinJiao suddenly left alone in the world, finished off, cut down by the horsey himself. And now EDG a little bit more control, but nowhere near as much as they had in game number 1, right? Still on the cusp of soul point, or on the cusp of soul, sorry, for LGD. It's a 3,000 gold lead in favor of EDG, almost 4,000. But remember, we talked about it earlier. The Renekton, not the greatest in terms of scaling. This Ahri as well, not the greatest. It feels like the damage, the brunt of that weight is all on Viper's shoulder.
Yeah, I do feel like Scout, though, 20 stacks of the Magi is still very relevant now. And Jiejie on this HEcarim has been stellar. It is the more Malmortius. Remember, we are on 12.4, so... Oh, looking for Jay.
JJ actually going on to Jay here. So many Jays, but only 2 will remain. As it's a pick onto the enemy mid laner and EDG now. Open the Baron up for themselves. And we were just saying how it feels like they're slowly gaining control. Well, with a pick like that, they have full control. And now the onus on LGD to find some kind of miracle.
That is going to try and approach. Not going down too fast. They should be able to get here and contest this.
This is the same as game number 1, right? EDG don't want the Baron. They want the fight. LGD are going to commit to this one. Shadow goes into the middle of everyone. Viper in trouble. The Shuriken flip has landed from Fearness. Will he pull the trigger? Doesn't go in just yet. Now into the back line, but he's cut down. Shot in the face once again by Viper, but the Ignite is enough. And a pick onto Viper is the end of the play.
Yeah, the more of Malmortius keeping Viper alive for a fair bit, but obviously does nothing against that Ignite in the situation. EDG, the Baron was kind of slow at first, and on top of that, Jiejie took so much damage off the back of it, just weren't able to continue. And despite the fact we see that pick on a J, LGD managed to maintain pressure. Now, they might look towards this Baron, right? With Viper down, you can start a fight. And remember, Fearness has teleport. If this play goes on, if it gets extended, they will have their Akali join in before that Aphelios turns up.
Worth mentioning, this Blade of the Rune King for Eric as well does make the Baron a little bit quicker. LGD might have bitten off more than can chew here. That's going to be a fear across the team. Scout goes in as well, and Eric is already going to go down. This was too much for LGD. The bailout and Shadow will not come up trumps. And now JinJiao will just get chased down. And one by one, the members of LGD fall. One by one, they realize the mistake that they have made. Jay back into the team, just trying to play with match. I mean, that's just classic misdirection right there from Jay, but it doesn't matter because the Baron will go the way of EDG.
And I mean, critically, JinJiao didn't have that ultimate. If you watch that fight again and you see how huge a Renata ult would have been there, everyone was just corralled together looking for the dive. Would have been a difference maker. On top of that, he used his bailout on Shadow and not Eric. I'm not sure if it would have even made a difference, I'm going to be honest. But definitely, I think it should have been put down on the Zeri. That attack speed could have been really valuable. But you just see them all funnel in here. Imagine the Renata ult there. Would have been so impactful. And then the bailout again used on Shadow, not on the Zeri. Definitely not the preferred target. EDG now have the Baron, but it is that dragon up pretty soon after this replay ends. Soul once more for LGD if they can secure it. They are moving towards it, but EDG already on the objective.
Are we going to get another 50-50 for the Soul here from EDG? Apparently not, because LGD doesn't look like are even going to contest for this one. And Aux, I could just feel this one slipping away from LGD. It's a heartbreaker. They have had such a good game. The team in 13th place in the LPL right now, taking it to EDG for so long in this one. But now it feels like it's starting to be removed from their grasp, right? 7,000 gold lead is Fearness, getting caught by the Calibrum, and in goes Jiejie behind enemy lines as well. They'll finish this one off. No, Shuriken flip out to safety, and now re-entering the fight. But Xiaoshong with a nice stopwatch keeps himself safe. And EDG, slowly but surely, pushing forwards with the Baron here, trying to break open the base of LGD.
And this is where it's difficult. Limited wave clear available to LGD. No Runans there yet for Eric. They will be able to deal with these frontline minions, but the cannons, he's trying to get some more damage. It looks like EDG, though, trying to work with that mid lane wave instead and will rotate over. And honestly, LGD holding up pretty okay so far and clearing out the threat of these minions. A minute 24 left on that Baron.
Yeah.
And honestly, I kind of like the decision that LGD had not to contest the dragon, right? As we said, they have 3. EDG just picked up their 2nd. It's not a massive cause for concern yet, and it means they can just play defensive and not throw the game away on one potential fight.
Yeah, I mean, the next fight could decide a whole lot. If it's one-sided either direction. Could be LGD's way back in, or it could be the end of the game as EDG just blast open the front door here. Flash forward from Scout. I swear, Scout has been taking lessons from Hung, because the way he is flashing this game, I am loving it. He just goes full.
That's the thing with the Ahri, right? The charm flash, right, leaves very little opportunity to counterplay. Doesn't connect there, but hard to react to. And the thing is, because you have your ultimate, you're not actually that much of a liability. There's a lot of champions, you burn your flash, you end up being so much weaker in team fights. Scout can just afford to look for these picks. Currently, by the way, 25 stacks on that Medjai. A whopping amount of damage on the back of that.
Yeah, Scout is massive. 9, 2, and 10. Like, we were, you know, I've been talking about the scaling, and Ahri might fall off in the late game. With the lead that he has, he's like a full item up, right? He's not even a full item up. He's a full Medjai up. Like, that's more than an item. It feels like he's a long way away from falling off in this game in particular. And now, with the mid lane supers, they should be able to continue this siege all day long. And now trying to pressure multiple lanes, but we've got a bit of a flank coming out from LGD. Perhaps Shadow has found a way to make it happen. Didn't work in game 1 in the alcove. Will it work in game number 2? Ooh. Apparently so. As Meiko just walks into enemy lines. Viper's got a bit of damage to work with. Gale Force is in. Viper wants a win for himself. Has to flash away from the play. 1 HP in a dream, but he will survive. Xiaosheng sacrifices himself to save EDG's AD carry. I mean, Viper, I respect the confidence, but what was that?
Yeah, I mean, very disrespectful if I'm being honest. You lose your support. Meiko goes in. Remember, this isn't an Aftershock Leona. Fairly squishy, especially this late in the game. But then Viper, you know, you're a man down. You really don't want to be taking a fight. Just commits in, and now both summoners unavailable for this next dragon fight. Look at the replay. Meiko, they fishing for this pick on a Fearness, but it's an Akali. Not exactly an easy target to take down. The charm connects, but because Fearness gets the shroud down in time, can't follow up with stun. And then look how quickly Meiko just gets eviscerated. Then Viper, you know, he sees the big damage numbers. He's like, I'm ready to go in. I'm ready to look for this. Shadow nearly just solo kills him in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's a Zhao. I don't know what Viper was expecting on this one. That's like the worst possible target to Gale Force into melee range for against the enemy team. Bit of an interesting one. Bit of an interesting one from Viper. But you know what? With all of the clips we've seen recently of Viper just annihilating people on Aphelios, I think we give him a pass on the occasional... I'd say mess up. I don't think it was a mess up. I'm pretty sure that was fully intentional. He knew what he was doing. He was limit testing right there is what he was doing.
And now we have the setup for this dragon in 45 seconds. Critically, Cleanse not available for Eric, but he has bought the QSS. Viper, no summoners. A lot of beers traded back and forth.
Yeah.
LGD have control the area.
That was one auto from Viper onto Jay, and it was a quarter, if not more, of the HP. But as you say, LGD with control of the river on the bottom side. Remember, it'd be Infernal Soul. Imagine if this Aphelios gets Infernal Soul. My God, the damage. As a hostile takeover goes through, but it doesn't matter. Nobody falls. And now Scout getting the resets, charging through the enemy team. And LGD, once again, we've gotten to the late game. Or maybe not. Fearness. Can he make the match? No, he can't. The answer is no. The bailout is going to do nothing. 25-16. And it is destruction in the fight from EDG. Only Meiko to fall. And Aux, I think that might just be game.
I think that might just be it. They don't really manage to make the Renata Zeri combo work. Teamfighting prowess wasn't there. And EDG, you know, it's really what they are excellent at. Crushing these team fights. The target selection. They know exactly what they need to do to shut down the opposition. And they will manage to close this out 2-0. We got our first Renata game. 0% win rate so far.
Yeah, Renata, not so hot for JinJiao in this one. Kind of disappointing. But that's okay. EDG, a phenomenal way to start things off today, right? Like we saw 2 games in a row. The first one, EDG managing to control for the vast majority of the game. This second one, though, LGD showing some positives, right? Managing to get soul point. But it felt like EDG, especially in that later game, playing with their food a little bit, like Viper Gale forcing